everyone, and welcome to the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy Holistic Transformation Podcast. Today we have a very special guest that's going to talk about a subject close to my heart, Nicoline Huizinga. She is a human design in business coach. She is a certified intuitive business mentor, a human design coach, speaker, and author of the book Flip the F It Switch. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Well, we love talking about human design, so it's going to be fun to talk to you today.
Oh, yes.
So the first thing I always ask my speakers, what is your transformational story? How did you come into human design and becoming a business coach?
Okay, so, well, basically those are two stories because my transformational story was, it started when I worked for a training and coaching company for 16 years. So I got certified as a coach, as a trainer, and I really loved doing it. But at some point we had to go through some reorganizations, and as happens often after a reorganization, the company changes, the culture changes, the people change. So after 16 years, I felt like, this is not really my company anymore. And then separately from one another, I got 3 or 4 people who asked me the very same question. Why don't you start your own business? And I was like, what? Why should I? Because I didn't particularly see myself as an entrepreneur, because I had a weird idea about what entrepreneurs should be like. But at some point, after the 4th person asking me this question, I was like, perhaps I should consider it. And then I started discussing it with my husband, and he said, you should do it. It's going to be great. I was like, okay, you are very convinced. And then I grew into the idea of, okay, basically I've got nothing to lose. So that was my first, I would say, transformational moment. Then, and that's now almost 13 years ago. And then I started my business, and I loved the online world instantly. So at that time, Twitter was becoming big. So I was all about, Twitter and starting the online business. But I tried to do what everyone else was doing. And I followed numerous blueprints of success until the moment that I got into human design. And I found out that I am a generator, and I'm a generator, and generators have the strategy of waiting to respond. And then finally, all the pennies dropped, like, oh, now I get it, why I tried to do things and they didn't work. And then I found out, like, okay, this is my way to move forward. And then I really started diving into human design and applying it to my own business, to myself, to people around me, and then eventually my clients, and people just love it. They love it. And I've never encountered a tool that is so spot on as human design. So I could talk about this all day.
I believe it. It really is, at least in my case, it really opened me up to understanding why things were the way. I knew how things were and what I needed to do, but I didn't know why.
Exactly.
And this explains it. So you're a generator. How nice. So you're the building block of everything.
Yes.
Like 80% of the population.
Yeah. Well, it's and it's really intriguing to find out about the generator traits and the generator strategy. And once I really got into it, it was like you said, it's understanding why you act the way you act, why things happen the way they happen. And it's like, and that's what I get a lot from my clients these days, that they tell me, like, you give me permission to be me. And that's really what it is. And I love that because it gave me permission to be me. And it
Yeah.
gave me so much understanding of what I'm all about. And it was like, getting my own user manual. And
Mhm.
that was really, really helpful. It still is.
And not beating yourself up for being the way you are and not like other people. Because I'm like
Exactly.
less than 20% are like me.
Yeah, exactly. But
So,
that's great, right? You are like a unique design. And it's so wonderful now and now you can start acting on all the specific traits for a projector.
yeah.
So yeah, I love that.
That is really, really awesome. So you ended up starting your own business, and obviously you're now successful. So can human design, or how does human design improve relationships and communication?
Absolutely. Because, the thing is, when you start understanding yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you automatically improve your communication. Once you know what you're like and what you are all about, you improve your interactions with other people, you
Mm-hmm.
improve your communication, you improve your collaboration with others. So it makes so much sense when you really understand yourself and others. So for instance, I did a few human design readings for a management team recently, and they were doing okay, but they didn't really get one another. And once they did the reading, so I did the individual readings and then I did a team reading, and then it was like, oh my goodness, they were all like, their mouths wide open, like, now I understand why you do the things you do. Now I get it. And when you understand one another, things improve like automatically.
Yeah.
And once especially when you know your own design, you know exactly what happens when you're in a group. You know what happens when you're acting one-on-one. You know when you need a nap, for instance, when you need to guard your own energy. And once you know that, things will shift and improve. And yeah, so it everything changes once you know yourself, and once you understand yourself, and once you know and understand others better.
Yeah, while you were talking, I was envisioning a group, and you have a bulk. The bulk is going to be generators, and let's say you have a projector, projector in there, and the projector keeps trying to interject with solutions, and everybody ignores them. I can see a lot of conflicts coming right out of that. Whereas if they know we have a problem, oh, ask the projector. They always have the answer.
Yeah, for sure. And
Totally change the dynamic.
yeah, and when we were talking before the recording started, we had this example, like in a group, when a projector shares his or her knowledge without being invited,
Mm-hmm.
people don't hear it. They just don't hear it. And then you, as a projector, you hear someone else offering the same solution, and everyone's like, yeah, that's a great idea. And then as a projector, you're like, I just said that.
Yeah. Or
But you weren't invited.
they think you're just a smart ass. They
Yeah,
think, oh
true.
yeah, because they just don't want to hear the answer. It's one or the
Yeah,
other. You're either ignored or they resent the fact that you piped up.
it's
Um,
true.
yeah, I
Yeah,
lived that a lot in my younger years until I learned to keep my
yeah.
mouth shut.
Yeah, but the great thing is now you're a projector. So when people are working with you and they want to get the best out of you, they need to invite you. So they
Mhm.
need to invite you to share your opinion, to share your solutions. And once they do that, then things will improve just like that.
Yeah. What happens if I'll throw this one out here because this is my ignorance. What happens when you have a pure manifester in the group? Is that an overwhelming energy?
Oh, it depends. It depends. It can be. It can be, but many manifestors, and it's my experience that many female manifestors
Mhm.
um, were told to tone it down when they were
Ah,
kids.
okay.
So especially women, women manifestors have a lot of suppressed energy. So they
Oh,
are afraid to step into their true manifestor energy.
oh, okay.
And I've spoken to so many manifestors, and they all struggle with the same issue. I would say male manifestors don't often have that issue,
Mhm.
but female manifestors do. So it's very often that they are not aware of their power and their true energy,
Wow.
because they were always told, like, tone it down, don't be too loud, don't be too much. So they really have a lot of deconditioning to do. So
Manifest.
it's not like a rule when there is a manifestor in the group, there's a lot of overwhelming energy.
Okay.
It's not a rule.
They're the fire element.
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah,
sense? Uh,
they
and
are.
they just wondered how that would be, because I don't know enough about human design to actually know that. So thank you for that. So do you think every business owner should know human design?
Of course.
I think
Of
every
course.
human should know human design.
Exactly, because it's like I said, you're when you get your human design, it's like getting your own user manual.
Mhm.
And well, we discussed this before, like the younger you get your human design and you know your own user manual, it improves your quality of life. Basically, it improves the communication, the collaboration, but like also understanding yourself, so you don't try to be something that you're not. And especially when we focus on business, because I focus a lot on business, human design in business, it's when you know how you're wired, you know how you operate,
Mhm.
running a business gets so much easier. So when you know that you're a projector, you don't have to follow like a success blueprint that was actually made for manifesting generators, because you know it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So that's especially business owners should know it. But like you said, I think every human should know it, because yeah, it's definitely a game changer.
Which type? Okay, there's 5 types, so the audience might not know. Well, you name them, you know them better.
Yeah. So the 5 types, the biggest group are the generators. So they are 37% of the entire population. Then
37.
we have 37. Yeah. Then we have the manifesting generators. They are 33%. So together they are 70% of the
Oh, okay.
entire population. Then we have 20%, which is for projectors. Then we have 9% for manifestors, and we have 1% for reflectors. So
Reflector.
reflectors are very rare.
Very rare. Yeah, I haven't met a
Yeah,
reflector, but a lot of the projector types with all open centers are a lot like a reflector because they have
absolutely. Yeah,
centers.
yeah, absolutely.
I know one of the things that I never understood until I got into human design and found out about me was I could walk into a room and like, I'll give you an example. I went to a meeting. It was a group meeting for the first time. A friend invited me to this organization. I walked in and they were having an election. They didn't know me from Adam. I got elected to the board within 6 months. I was president. It's a 300-member organization.
Mhm.
And stuff like that has happened to me all my life. And I never understood it until I understood the projector aura,
Yeah,
how it goes out there. And I thought, oh man, that's why I walk in and people feel that aura energy
yeah,
and the intensity, because we projectors can be intense.
yeah,
And
yeah,
really
for sure.
intense for some people. So that was really an enlightening thing. But so your statistic numbers are different than the ones that I've read elsewhere. But now within the groups, there's 2 different types. There's the emotional and the non-emotional. I don't know what, talk about that a little bit. I just know like there's emotional generators and emotional projectors, and then
Yeah.
where the opposite is.
Yeah. So the thing is, it really depends on your authority. So in the human design chart, we have like 9 centers, and one of them is the solar plexus, which is all about the emotion. And many generators and manifesting generators do have like the emotional authority. And that is like they have the consistent energy in their emotional center in the solar plexus. And it basically means that we all have, especially when you have your solar plexus defined, we have these waves of emotions, and they go up and down and up and down, and it's like a wave. And you need to sit out the wave when you have emotional authority. So the thing is, for emotional generators or manifesting generators, it's crucial, for instance, when you take a decision, that you don't take decisions on the spot. Especially with emotional authority, you need to sit out the entire wave of emotions. So you need to sleep on decisions, especially big decisions. So 2 or 3 nights is best for people with emotional authority. And then, of course, there are the people without the emotional authority. So they have splenic authority or sacral authority. Yeah. So they have like, you know, the instant knowing. So especially if you are have splenic authority, so you have the instant knowing, like this is the right way forward, this is the right thing to do, or no, I shouldn't be going here.
Right.
But for people with emotional authority, it's very different, because they need to sit out the wave of emotions. I have emotional authority, and in the past, I made mistakes of saying yes to things that felt really good at the time that I took the decision. But then the next day, I was like, why did I say yes to this? Because it doesn't feel good anymore. But I was really in that emotional wave, and I didn't know. So now I know that I need to buy myself some time. So whenever someone asks me to do to do something, or to like be a guest on a podcast or whatever, I like, okay, let me think about this and I'll get back to you.
I have some people that when I invite them to be on the podcast, that's what they do. Well, I have to think about it and get back to you. Fine. And I don't push them. I have a friend who is also a projector, but she's an emotional projector. And I researched her and I said, oh, she has to wait for that wave. But I didn't know that was also true of manifesting generators and generators.
Yeah, it's for everyone with emotional authority. You need to sit out the wave of emotions.
I had an interaction with someone who was a manifesting generator who I obviously, I think she was an emotional one, and things didn't go right, and it wasn't her fault, but she just went on this craziness. And I think that's what it is. She needed, but I've learned when people get crazy just to let them be who they are.
Yeah.
I didn't, it didn't create any negative energy, because I don't allow that anymore.
Yeah.
If I was younger, I might have said, how dare you?
Yeah.
But so that's true of anyone then that has that emotional center. They have to ride the wave.
Yeah.
That's really important to know, I think, for business. If you're managing,
absolutely,
that would be
absolutely
really important information. So it's just like I've actually taken a college class in Myers-Briggs, and I've actually certified to teach Wilson social style. So there's all these other instruments, they call them. Do you think that human design is just another hype, or do you think this is really here to stay?
Well, the big difference between Myers-Briggs, for instance, is that that's a questionnaire, right? You need to answer questions. And whenever you answer questions, it's always like, a moment where you answer the question. So you can, I'm not saying that people do, but they can manipulate the outcome in one way or the other. But, human design is based on your date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth. So there's nothing to manipulate there, unless you are not sure about your exact time of birth, because that happens. I encounter that
Yeah,
every
a lot
now
of
and
people
again,
don't know their time. Yeah.
when people don't know their exact time. And there are days in history where it doesn't really make a difference. Sometimes it does, like it makes a big difference when whether you're born in the morning or in the afternoon or the evening. But some dates it doesn't make a difference. But other than that, there's nothing to manipulate there.
What do you
So in
do?
that sense, sorry?
What do you do when people don't know their time?
I start with noon
Oh,
and
okay.
see how that works out. But I always try to help them to find their time of birth. So it's usually either on a birth certificate, or a family member knows, like, oh yeah, it was somewhere in the morning, or yeah, it was in the evening, or something like that. So it really helps, as to be as accurate as possible. But to answer your question, is it a hype? I know many people talk about it now. So in that sense, I think it is a hype, but I think it's here to stay because it's very spot on, and people find and feel the added value of knowing their human design. So I would say, yeah, it's getting hyped, and there are so many people out there. Of course, everyone's trying their best, but for some of them, it's also a way of making them look smart. So they talk about human design as being very difficult, intellectual, and they're like, yeah, no, my channel of transition is da da da. And then I'm like, yeah, what does that mean? What does that mean for you as a person? What does it mean for business? Tell me. And then they don't know. So I really like to make things very practical. So for me, it's like, yeah, perhaps it's a hype, but I love making it practical and helping people to use it, to apply it to their business.
If it's not practical, then yeah, why bother? But I found it to be very practical.
Yeah.
Part I don't get yet, but I'm not an astrologer, but there's a whole astrology part to it. And sometimes people come out with these YouTube videos, oh, Saturn is doing this, and
Yeah.
then I don't get it. Okay, well, how does that affect me? Can you talk a little about that? Should we even pay
Yeah.
attention to it?
Yeah. So when you create your body graph, so you get your body graph, and there is, the image of the body and the 9 centers, and then you have 2 lines, the black row, which is the position of the planet on the day, time, and place that you were born. And there's the red row, which is the position of the planets 88 days before you were born. And according to human design, your personality, your soul, if you will, gets crystallized 88 days before you were born.
Oh, interesting.
So, and that's like the black is your conscious design, as they call it, and the red is your subconscious design.
Oh, the subconscious design. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has everything to do with the position of the planets. So, there's the whole row of planets, and each planet represents a certain aspect of your life. So it's like what you have to bring to the world, what's driving you, what is your energizer, what is your Achilles heel, what is your spiritual teacher. All these planets all have a special meaning. But I always tell people when they start out with human design, the most basic thing they need to know is their design, their energy type. So are you a projector, a manifesting generator, a reflector, a manifester? They need to know their strategy, and they need to know their authority. That's what, if you know these 3 things, you've covered like 75% of your human design, and all the rest are all details. And of course, the details can be very specific and very necessary. But knowing these 3 things is definitely going to help you move forward, especially as a business owner. Knowing these 3 things is like sufficient to start with.
Those are the 3 things that I've delved into. Beyond that, I think I need to take a class or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But if you know these 3 things, that is like a challenge in itself, for you, for a projector waiting for the invitation, applying that to your life, to your business, that can be tough. I mean, especially like I said, for instance, for a manifester, when you need to decondition, it takes time. And so human design is always, when people start with it, I always tell them, like, this is a journey of a lifetime. It's not like, oh, I've learned something, now I master it overnight. That's not the case, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
that's the interesting bit. So you grow into it and you get to know more and more and more about yourself, about the others. And you gather more and more evidence of, oh my goodness, this is how it works. Oh, this is how it works if I'm not aligned with my design. So yeah, it's like I said, a journey of a lifetime.
Well, I wanted to look up, like, I have one of my closest friends has no idea, and she's an astrologer, and she has not been able to figure out her ascendant because she doesn't have a birth time. Her mother doesn't remember. I don't know how you cannot remember when your baby was born, but I mean, I was looking at the clock when my daughter was born. I can tell you right exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to look up my parents who are gone now, and I have no way of getting their time of birth. So I wanted to just look that up and see, our own interaction, because I really
Yeah.
get into my family.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when you're a projector, so, one of my clients, for instance, is a projector as well. And she always had a very, very difficult relationship with her parents and with her two sisters, because she was always the lazy one. She was always labeled as the lazy one, as the person who was always sleeping, the person who was always late with doing things. As it turned out, she grew up.
Late to your own funeral.
Yeah. So basically, it turned out that she grew up in a family of manifesting generators.
Oh my God.
Being the only projector.
Oh.
So she felt bad within the family, because she never felt fully understood or seen. And people were always labeling her like, oh, you're lazy, you're tired, you need to get up and do things. But now she knows. And once she found out, she discussed it with her sisters and her parents. And then they were like, oh my goodness, we were so wrong to call you lazy, because now we get it, why you needed more sleep and why you needed more rest than the others. So, and it definitely improved their entire relationship. And of course, you cannot undo what has been done in the past, but now they are like close again. They are having the best relationship ever.
I never had that problem with, when I was young, of falling asleep, but like I said, I had Mars conjunct my sun.
Yeah.
But I've always been extremely productive in a short amount of time. Like, I was bored to tears in high school. I was on a roll. I was president of the Music Honor Society. I was in the band. I mean, I did all kinds of stuff. Of course, when I got older, I burnt myself out.
Yeah.
But no, I just didn't fit in. But I always thought it was because they're all water signs, like mother and sister and brother are Pisces. My father's a Scorpio. And here's Capricorn Beverly with her moon in Aquarius. Like, I live in this strange, bizarre world with these weird people, and I'm in the bedroom with the door closed playing my clarinet.
Yeah.
These people are.
Yeah. And that's so different, right? From the energy of the water signs. That's very, very different.
It's like, so studying human design, I think, can really change family dynamics, business dynamics, friendships. It's just so important, and I'm so glad that you are with us now. You take on clients, correct?
Yes.
And you work online.
Yes,
So even though you're in the Netherlands, you can deal with people in the United States or anywhere. Cool.
absolutely.
And you have a gift for our listeners, a smart business strategist for manifesting generators. Tell us about your free gift.
Yeah, so the free gift, and that's directly linked to the energy types that I work with. So I made the decision to work mainly with generators and manifesting generators. And that's very simple because I get them. I am a generator, so I get the generators and the manifesting generators. I have worked with projectors in the past, but I'm not the best coach for a projector because I don't have the projector energy. So it was a very, I would say, a sensible decision to start working only with generators and manifesting generators. And that's why I created the free gift, which is smart business strategies for generators and manifesting generators. So they get like my best tactics for generators and manifesting generators in business.
Now, do you have a free chart on your website where people can find out what their type is?
I always refer them to mybodygraph.com. I don't have it on my own website because I really want to leave credits where credits are due. So mybodygraph.com is a great website to find out about your type and about all the specifics. And then once you know that you're a generator or manifesting generator, go for the download.
Good. Well, I know as a projector that there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, and I just started listening to projectors who help projectors. So there's other people that do the same thing. They specialize in what they are.
Yeah.
So they're projectors and they work with projectors, and I found several that I really, really like, and that's who I've been working with. So yeah, I
Yes.
encourage people, number one, find out what you are. Number two, find someone who specializes in your type.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly, because
so
it doesn't make any sense for me to work with projectors or reflectors because I don't know their energy. And yeah, so it's best for me to work with generators and manifesting generators.
here we go. Okay, so if you're on YouTube, the link will be down below for her free gift. And oh, let me write that down. What was the name of the website for them to go to?
So the website is mybodygraph.com.
DY graph. Okay, I will put that link down below as well.
Great. Great.
And for those of you listening to the podcast, the link to the free gift is subscribe page, subscribepage.com/smart business strategies for generators. So it's all one word, smart business strategies for generators. That will be the link to get the free gift for Nicoline.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really wonderful. So do you have any closing remarks for the audience?
Well, the thing is, what I really want people to consider whether they have a business or not, I think the world needs us unapologetically the way we are.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend everyone and anyone who listens to start finding out about their human design so you can definitely start being your unapologetic self, because the world needs us. The world needs the way we are, the way we truly are at our core. So yeah, let's start a movement to be unapologetic.
Good. And I think we need all 5 types. Each type brings something to the world.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason why there's more of one type than another.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. Whatever your design is, there is no design that's better or worse, or it's all unique. And I think that's what we need to embrace, is our uniqueness. And instead of looking at like, oh yeah, but I would love to be a manifesting generator. No, you're not. When you're not, you're not. But start living your design and start embracing your beautiful gifts and your talents, and the world will be such a beautiful place if we would all embrace our own human design.
Wow, well, I could talk to you all day, but we don't have all day.
We don't, unfortunately.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. And everyone, remember to be the light you want to see in the world.
Absolutely.